Now welcome to another lightning response video, where this time I'm gonna again do a few questions, and we'll kick it off with this one from Derek Lopez, who asked, Hey Thor, I've been wanting to ask, do you think Boba Fett being a crime lord would have worked if the writers had him rule with respect, but still maintained his ruthless reputation instead of turning him into a complete softie? Because being a crime lord means that you have to be ruthless and cunning, maintain control over other activities like smuggling and gambling, eliminate other rivals if they get in your way, and more importantly, have powerful connections to other people, and yet Boba did none of that. I can't help but laugh back at Ming Na Wen's comment when she compared Book of Boba Fett to The Godfather when they're absolutely nothing alike. When I look at someone like Don Vito Corleone, he ruled the mafia world with a strong emphasis on respect, and is known to be as the man of his word, but at the same time, he would not hesitate to be ruthless and take action only if necessary. This is what they tried to do with Boba Fett, and it failed miserably. What are your thoughts? And first of all, I think the biggest problem that they faced, or what they figured their biggest problem would be, and I agree it is kind of an issue, is that you want to make the Book of Boba Fett and the character of Boba Fett different or distinguishable from the Mandalorian and the character of Din Djarin. You wanted to make sure that these shows didn't feel just like the same thing, more or less, where you have a very stoic and quiet character who wears Mandalorian armor and doesn't take off his helmet, goes around the galaxy and gets things done, which is what you would initially think the Book of Boba Fett is just going to be. That it's going to be Boba Fett taking missions or jobs, searching for bounties, and doing what he has to do to get the job done, and not hesitating to be ruthless. Not that Din Djarin is necessarily quite that ruthless, but he does start out that way, right? He does start out pretty much as what we would think Boba Fett would be in that first episode, where he's killing people or cuts the guy in half and all that. That's kind of what we would imagine Boba Fett to be like. And don't get me wrong, I do understand the desire to do something a little different or very different with this show to, again, distinguish it from The Mandalorian. I think it is a solid idea to have Boba Fett kind of ascend as a character from just a bounty hunter to a crime lord to taking over for Jabba. I think that's a fine idea, and I'm pretty sure almost all of us at the end of Mando Season 2, when we saw the post-credit scene where he kills Bib Fortuna and sits on the throne, and you get this new kind of cool music, I think we were all pretty excited for this version of Boba Fett, because we kind of figured it was just like the Boba Fett we had seen in Mando Season 2, when he's cracking stormtrooper skulls and just is badass still. We figured that was going to be the guy who was taking over. That's how he was going to rule, that he would demand respect, and if you didn't, if you crossed him, he's just going to kill you. Because that's always how I've envisioned Boba Fett, as a guy who's not going to go out of his way to hurt you or kill you, but if you do get in his way, if you do treat him disrespectfully, yeah, he's going to kill you. And yet we didn't really see that. We didn't really see much of anything, I felt, out of Boba Fett, other than in the flashbacks with the Tuskens, which was fine. But everything in the present time period of the show felt like I'm going to stand here and kind of look a little intimidating, and I'm going to talk about respect, but I'm not really going to do much of anything. Fennec Shand is going to handle most everything for me. Yeah, there's going to be some cool scenes, but overall, I'm just going to be a different Boba Fett, and I don't think it worked. Again, I really just think they wanted the show to be different from The Mandalorian, and in the process, they made a different Boba Fett that I don't think a lot of fans really enjoyed. Alright, and now we move on to this question from Sky Mario, who asked, Hey Thor, here's a quick question for you. What do you think of the slave Leia outfit? Do you think it's sexist, like some people say? Or do you think it's fine and does some world building and is there for story purpose? I myself don't think it's sexist. I believe it's to show how Jabba's character is a cruel and vile gangster, but I'm interested in your thoughts. P.S. Do you think the outfit is sexy or does it not do anything for you? And first of all, to awkwardly answer this question, I was 5 when Return of the Jedi came out, and I didn't see the outfit that way, and I don't think I still see it that way personally, just because I watched the movie through the same childish eyes, in a manner of speaking. Not saying Carrie Fisher isn't beautiful or anything like that, but it doesn't really do anything for me because it's just this movie that I love, and I don't see it that way. Anyway, I do think in story the outfit is definitely supposed to be sexist. That is kind of the whole point of the outfit, to make us view Jabba as a disgusting giant slug who puts women in metal bikinis and has them dance for him. That is literally the point of the outfit. I can understand people who look at that and say, well, I don't necessarily approve of the outfit or want my kids to watch it because of the outfit, I guess, even though, as I just said, I was very young when I watched it and I don't really know that I got it, if you will. But anyway, I have zero problem with it, and if you do have a problem with it, that's your prerogative. I guess I can understand that, but it is meant to symbolize something in a story, and it does it very, very well. Jabba is this horrible galactic gangster. He has obviously no respect for women, and yeah, he ends up getting choked and killed because of it. I don't know how anybody would really have an issue with that when they stop and think about it, and just how symbolic it actually is that the sexist slug got what was coming to him. All right, let's do one more question, and this one comes to us from a psychedelic dude who asked, Hey Thor, do you think there is a possibility that being a Force ghost is actually more of a curse than a gift? Or somehow both, as if they have more work to do and or have to right some kind of wrong? Ghosts in real life stay behind because of unfinished business. I mean, think about who became Force ghosts. Qui-Gon, the man who found Anakin and insisted on him being trained. Obi-Wan, the man who failed Anakin, neglected his emotions, trained him as any Jedi as if following some recipe, and didn't adapt to his individual needs and characteristics. Yoda, the man who led the Jedi Order into the palm of the Sith. Anakin, mass murderer, helped the Sith take over the galaxy for almost 25 years. I am not saying the top three are evil or that everything is their fault, but because they are so good and compassionate, they would probably feel guilty about playing a part in the Sith taking over, including Anakin at the end of Return of the Jedi, regardless of it actually being their fault or not. Is the Force punishing them, or are they voluntarily punishing themselves due to their massive guilt? Could the guilt be what makes them ghosts and persist their selves after death? Perhaps part of Force ghost training is confessing your sins to yourself and manifesting a stronger sense of guilt. This is probably not the case, but how would you feel about it if Disney went that direction with the Force ghosts? And I don't know how I'd feel about that one. I'm not saying it's a terrible idea, and it does kind of make sense when you, again, look at the Jedi who become Force ghosts and you see that they were a part of the downfall of the Jedi and thus maybe would be punished, quote unquote, and have to come back to make things right. Though in all reality, what we learned from Clone Wars, there is a terrific arc involving Yoda in Season 6 that I recommend everybody watch. You don't even have to know anything else from Clone Wars to watch it. But there's a great arc in there where we learn that actually becoming a Force ghost is considered the great gift. Now that's what they call it. Maybe it's not so great after all. But it is implied to be a gift, something that only the best of the best Jedi, those who can let go of all of their fear and attachments and just become true and pure servants of the Force, essentially, only they can become this, and then they do go on and live essentially forever, which is different from the EU where they eventually kind of fade away. But in the Lucas canon, if you will, Force ghosts just kind of endure forever. They become non-linear, or they go to some sort of non-linear place, which is probably attached to the world between worlds and Mortis and all that. But the idea here is you receive it as a gift for letting go of everything and again becoming just a pure servant of the Force and sticking around to do whatever needs to be done, which is also kind of implied in this Yoda arc in the Clone Wars that the Jedi are going to lose, but we need someone here to train Luke or Leia when that happens, so we need someone to stick around after death. And so that is what they are chosen for, essentially, and maybe some other greater purpose would make sense too that we just don't know about. But yeah, I don't hate the idea that it is sort of a punishment and that would go along with being a ghost where you usually come back or you stick around because something has gone wrong and you feel guilt. But in this case, according to Lucas, it is actually a gift that they get to stick around and come back and help. But again, not really a bad idea, and I don't know if Disney plans on tampering at all with Force ghost lore. It seems like Dave Filoni in the Ahsoka series, bringing back Anakin, is touching on it, and he's going to Mortis and all that as well, I think in Season 2 of Ahsoka. So we'll see what, if anything, changes or is elaborated on when it comes to Force ghosts there. Alright, I think that is going to be all I got for you this time. Now it is your turn. Take to the comments below. Tell me what you think about my responses to these questions here, or ask a question yourself. All you got to do is start your comment off with, Hey Thor, you ask a question. I try to answer it in a future video, but whatever the case may be, leave your comments below. Let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.